I used to believe that if I climbed high enough, the world would stop putting me in a box. I thought that if I reached the summit, the preconceptions would simply fade away. I was wrong. Chapter 12, Pisces, the Oceanic Soul. The world spent 12 chapters trying to put you in a box. The alchemist spent 12 months becoming the water. I stopped fighting the rocks and started flowing around them because true wealth isn't a number, it's the mobility of your soul. The struggle was the lead, the silence is the power, and the loophole was always you. No matter where we go, from the corporate hubs of the West to the high rises of Asia, people will always have their polite assumptions. I used to let that feel like a cold draft under a closed door, but I realized I cannot change the narrow minds of people who have never had to fight for their air. So I stopped trying. The shift. I found my true calling when I realized my peace is my highest priority. I became like the ocean. The ocean doesn't argue with the rocks, it simply flows around them. I follow the rules. I honor my roots. I am a provider for my family. But inside I am elsewhere. I am a global soul. The salt. The only difference between the dreamer in a 20 square meter room years ago and the person I am today is mobility. The freedom to move. If a place becomes too cold or too stagnant, I move. I am no longer a tree rooted in failing soil. I am the wind. Do I still get stressed? Yes, but that stress makes me feel alive. It is the salt in the soup of existence. The alchemy. I looked back at the clerk in the dark basement and the executive in the boardroom. They aren't different people. They are just different waves in the same ocean. The panic is gone. The golden cage is gone. There is only the flow. Money is just frozen energy. When you let go of the fear of losing it, it begins to flow in ways you never imagined. Survival Audit 12, the Oceanic Flow. On the Peace Audit, your inner sanctuary. The problem. You've built the empire, but you're still running like you're broke. You cannot enjoy what you've created because you're addicted to the panic. The scenario. You check your bank account obsessively even though you have years of runway. You cannot sit still without feeling guilty. The action. The water tests. Spend 1 hour by the ocean, a lake, or even a bathtub. No phone, no planning, just breathe. If you cannot do this without anxiety, you haven't truly won yet. 2. The mobility audit, the freedom test. The problem, you're trapped by your own success, your business, your property, your reputation. They've become a new cage. The scenario, if you had to leave your current city tomorrow with just a laptop and one suitcase, could you maintain your lifestyle within 30 days? The action, the passport power check. How many countries can you enter visa-free? How many income streams are location independent? True wealth is the ability to disappear and reappear anywhere without losing your power. 3. The energy flow audit, money as water. The problem, you're hoarding wealth out of fear, not strategy. Your money sits frozen in accounts you never touch. The scenario, you have significant savings, but you still live like you're one paycheck away from disaster. The action, the flow ritual. Identify one area where you can pour money into an experience or investment that brings you joy or growth. Money is frozen energy. When you release it with intention, it flows back multiplied. 4. The compassion audit, helping without drowning. The problem, you're still sending money into black hole situations that never improve. You're being drained by guilt, not guided by wisdom. The scenario, family members treat you like an ATM. Every success you share becomes a new request for money. The action, the boundary ritual. Decide on a fixed monthly amount you'll provide. No negotiations, no guilt. Anything beyond that goes into your sanctuary fund. You cannot save everyone, but you can save yourself. 5. The perception audit, the stranger's power. The problem, you're still trying to prove yourself to people who will never see you as equal. You're exhausted from fighting stereotypes. The scenario, in boardrooms, you still feel the subtle condescension. In your home country, you're seen as the rich foreigner. You belong nowhere completely. The action, the camouflage strategy. Stop trying to fit in. Use your outsider status as your advantage. You see opportunities others miss because you're not blinded by local assumptions. Being a stranger everywhere means you're free everywhere. 6. The completion audit, knowing when you've won. The problem: you don't know when to stop building and start being. You're running a race that has no finish line. The scenario: you've hit your financial goals, but you're still grinding like you're starting from zero. You cannot enjoy the present because you're obsessed with the future. The action, the victory declaration. Write down your original goal from when you started. Have you achieved it? If yes, declare victory. Shift from building mode to flow mode. You've turned lead into gold. Now turn that gold into light. The lesson: the mistake we often make is never knowing when we have won. We keep running the race even after we've crossed the finish line. The final phase of wealth is compassion mixed with realism. You must transition from building to being. When you help another, you are simply helping a version of your past self. You have turned lead into gold. Now you must turn that gold into light. The 3 steps. Here is the guide to your final phase. Number 1, the mindset shift. You have built the empire. Now, allow yourself to receive without effort. Mobility is your ultimate asset. Number 2, the ultimate release. Let go of the expectation that others will change. Provide what you can, but keep your inner sanctuary strictly for yourself. Number 3, the dreamer's ritual. Spend an hour by the water. Don't plan, just breathe. Know that you are enough. The epilogue. As I look at this journey, I am struck by one realization. The ultimate loophole was never a secret bank account, a hidden law, or a different passport. The loophole was me. Letter to the past. If you are watching this and your shoes are still wet from the struggle, do not wait for the world to become completely fair. It won't. Do not wait for the stigma to vanish. Use it as your camouflage. Take care of yourself first, so you can become a fortress for those you love. The horizon. The world will always try to put you in a box. The ultimate alchemy is refusing to believe them. The gold you were seeking was never out there. It was the mobility of your spirit. I look back at that struggling kid in 20 square meters, not with pity, but with deep reverence. They were the raw lead that made the gold possible. They were the panic that created this lasting peace. The Pisces Meditation, the frequency of the void. Before we close this book, I want you to do something the world has taught you is impossible. I want you to stop moving. For 1 minute, you aren't an immigrant, you aren't a worker, you aren't a provider, you aren't even a name. The breath. Close your eyes. Inhale the cold air of every winter you've survived. Hold it. Now exhale it as golden light. Feel the tension in your shoulders, the weight of the Manila panic, the Western hustle, the golden cage. Feel it dissolve into the water around you. The visualization. Visualize the rocks of the world, the taxes, the discrimination, the family demands, the cold boardrooms. See them as immovable stones. Now, see yourself as the water. You don't crash against them, you don't hate them, you simply flow around them. You are too fluid to be trapped, you are too deep to be disturbed. The affirmation. Repeat this internally and feel it in your blood. I am the wind and the wave. I am a stranger in every land and a master of my own peace. My mobility is my freedom. My silence is my power. The release. The lead has become gold. The struggle has become the source. Open your eyes. You are no longer looking for the loophole. You are the loophole. The alchemy is complete. Now go live it. Stability is a plateau. Agility is a mountain. Fluidity is the universe. Become the architect of your own reality.